Good morning. Let me give this a minute to get here. Good morning, everyone. Just going to grab some coffee and get everybody on board here. Hi, everyone. I'm Stacy, and this is Loving My Veteran, and we are walking in my shoes. While I'm waiting for a few people to get on, I'm just going to kind of bring you up to speed. We have a new advisory council here and have so much planned for what's going on. I posted that in the group as far as Loving My Veteran goes and all the great things that are coming up. Can't wait for Let's Talk. We're going to use a new format. We're going to kind of use a moderator a little bit because we think that that will help new people who come on actually be able to have conversations. So it'll be a fabulous new format that we're going to use. Stephanie is doing Wellness Wednesdays to help us take care of us, and God knows right now we need that more than ever. So she's going to be on board to do that. Start looking for a new kind of look on our website. It will be updated shortly. We're kind of giving a new look to all of that. This advisory council is taking us to places we've never known before. So just wanted to put that out there. So the topic of the day, welcome to the shit show. Couldn't come up with a better topic. I'm sure that they're gonna probably ban this, and I don't really care because it's going to YouTube immediately following this. So good morning, Stephanie, Jen, Michelle, Nakia, Sue, got all of us on board this morning. The shit show of 2021. Not like we thought 2020 could get any worse. We are now into 2021. So let's just talk, I'll explain that a little bit, Sarah. Let's just talk about what we're going through in this world today. Where it puts our veterans, where it puts us. Nice. Stephanie said Wellness Wednesday may be a little late. She had to drop her daughter off at a formal. That's so nice. Where the unrest puts us today, where our veterans see it, where we see the world, you have to get everybody on board to this understanding. Everybody on board to this understanding. This is not political. This is factual. So let's back up to, in early 2020 when COVID started, I can remember sitting there on the front porch with Carl when we were locked down, and he said, watch, just watch, just watch. This is how we've torn countries apart. Watch, just watch, just watch. Well, and it was hard. It was hard to hear him say that. He wasn't real detailed about it. It was just watch, just watch, just watch. And every so often you get a snippet of what his watch was about. Well, and for me it was the same concept because I worked EMS and I helped write a pandemic book. So it was very hard for us to see this evolve in what happened. So, everybody's like, okay, great, we have elections are over, things are going to kind of settle down. We knew there were triggers going on, but we were all like, good, let's get this election over, things are going to settle down. They haven't. They've actually gotten worse in a lot of our cases. So many of the spouses are saying, oh my God, it's so much worse, it's so much worse, it's so much worse. How do we prepare? Our veterans are having issues with our kids. They're snappy to us. They want to know where we're at all the time. Everybody needs to take a deep breath, first of all, and calm down, don't panic. That's my new motto, calm down, don't panic. But let's start being aware. Let's really start being aware. Up until this year, we had finally broken free from our dependence on foreign oil. Of course, we know that, and these are facts, this is not political, the Keystone Pipeline was shut down, and they are not renewing offshore oil leases. So we're not getting our oil from offshore, and we're not being able to utilize oil from the Keystone Pipeline. Well, Friday of this past Friday, there was a cyber breach. That's what they're saying at the point, on the Colonial Pipeline. The Colonial Pipeline is a pipeline that takes fuel, gas, oil, diesel fuel, jet fuel, and it takes it up the eastern seaboard. Okay, so That's what it does. It starts in Texas and comes on up, and that's what it does. It takes the eastern seaboard all the way to New York City. From my EMS career, I understand that all these oil companies, whoever is your gas distributor, they have oil in reserves. They have gas in reserves. Well, when the pipeline's not pumping, we're having to pull out of the reserves. Good morning, Sonny. We're having to pull out of the reserves. Hence the fact that it's hard to get gas. Okay? So our complaint that we see is, oh my God, no gas station had gas. I had to wait 20 minutes to get gas, and I had to buy premium. That's where most of us see this happening, and where we see it at this point is, oh my God, this is where we are, and it is really affecting the people on the eastern seaboard, on the eastern half of the country, more than people in like Colorado, Utah, and the Midwest at this present moment. So we're seeing this go on. And that is our typical thing. I had to sit in line for 20 minutes to get gas. I finally got there, and all they had was premium, and I had to pay twice as much for premium. But what we're not seeing is the trickle down. That's what our veterans are seeing. Yesterday, there was no gas. There was no gas at the gas stations on where we live in the general southeast Georgia. Most places did not have gas. The local gas station got 1,000 gallons, and it was gone in less than 3 hours. I ended up getting premium. My truck was full, but we topped it off, and I got 1 5-gallon gas tank in case we had to run the generator. And I paid premium for it. And when I was there, they were checking the fuel tank, and there was like 6 inches of fuel left in the tanks. But where the trickle down effect is on my way home from that, I get a phone call. I saw it on somebody's post. One of the ambulance companies that I'm very familiar with, that's a private service, was taking a critical patient to Jacksonville, and the paramedic that was on that truck sent a message back on Facebook. Anybody know of any place that's open that has diesel? We've just taken a critical patient to Jacksonville, and we have no fuel to get back. And all of a sudden at that point, I was like, this is the trickle down effect of what we see. We, being the spouses, the family, may not see that. Our veterans see, when you cut off fuel, this is what happens. I see, when you cut off fuel, this is what happens. So now I called the other guy who owned the company. He wasn't on a truck. I said, hey, look, what's going on? He said, we're having an issue. I said, hang on, let me make some phone calls. I found him fuel. He got back. We worked out with Duval, and I said, I need you to call the local gas company here and see if you can work out a deal. And they have held their reserves, what's left of their reserves locally, for fire, police, and EMS. Because you guys have got to understand, they have to get it from somewhere. Okay, so we may be sitting in line for 20 minutes and they may be out of gas, but who is thinking about when your friend or your family has a heart attack and that ambulance no longer has gas to get there and get them to the hospital? Now what happens? Okay, so our veterans see that trickle-down effect. Our veterans see that going on. They know that happens because they've watched it happen in other countries. So then, got that issue. Take all of these spouses that are on here whose husbands are police officers. What are they getting? Are they getting to work? Yep, they might get to work, but they might be told to pack a bag and stay because they're not sure they're going to come home. Erica, who's on this group, sent me a message today. She's a nurse at a hospital. They told her to pack a bag. They're already short-staffed. Pack a bag because we're not sure we can get relief in here. Well, what does that do to her veteran husband? What does that do to her veteran husband to not know where she is or not know when she's coming home? Where does that do to that? The next thing you're missing is food. So now, how do you think that food magically appears on the shelf? It doesn't magically appear on a shelf. It takes trucks to bring it there. Those trucks bring it there need fuel. Okay? This is how it works. So now you have all these people in the grocery store raking everything off the shelf, whether they need it or not. And here's the problem. Now they're not restocking, and then the rumors start. Oh my God, we're out of food. There's a food shortage. Nope, the food might be sitting in the Midwest, but it can't get to you. The food might be sitting at the ports on the East Coast, but it can't get to you. It can't get to the Walmart distribution center. It can't get to the Kroger distribution center. It can't get anywhere because it takes fuel. So this is the trickle down effect that we see. And what happens? Okay? And what happens? What happens? Our veterans get in a space. They're short-tempered. They're snappy. They're in a weird funk. They're in a place because they've seen it happen in other countries, and now it's happening here. I think back to watching the Guard put up the temporary fences around the Capitol. And that really put Carl in a place, and it put a lot of our veterans in a place. That put me in a place. My own PTSD, my own stuff. We had a hurricane here, and we were at the Civic Center evacuating patients. And they were afraid, and people from town, they were afraid that because there was no power, there was no food, there was no nothing, that they were going to have people come in, and they put up the temporary fence, and they put up the razor wire, and there were armed National Guards standing there. That's how we got in and out. That's how we got in and out. We had to see that. We try to stay off the news outlets, but you can't. I mean, the whole freaking world knows. I don't care what you're on. Unless you live under a rock, you know that we're having an issue with fuel. But we need to be honest with it. Nikki, I'm with you. I'm with you. I have 2 doctor's appointments that I absolutely have to have. The truck is completely full. We have 5 extra gallons of gas. I know that I can get to Jacksonville and back twice. And we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So it is tough, but they see it. You know, we say they're staying off the news outlets, and they are, but Mike goes to work in the real world, and Mike sees it in the real world. Veterans talk to veterans on Facebook. They are getting it. The thing that really got to me is that, do y'all realize it was 2 days before I realized that there was fighting going on in Israel because it was buried so far down the news feed? They were doing it all the way down the news feed. That's how far down it was. That puts our veterans in unrest. So now we have all of this unrest going on. I agree with you, Nikki. I have to be informed, but I have to be informed from reliable sources, which I'm blessed to be able to have access to. I have to be able to take the nonsense out, and I usually watch it in snippets because I get real, and I always check multiple things. Girl, I didn't either. You know that big dome thing in Israel? It's burning. I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know that. So how do we use our tools to help them? They get in a place. How do we do that? We're in a place. And it happened last night. Carl was sitting there on the couch last night with me, and he was telling me, he said, Stacy, I told you this. Didn't I tell you this? This is what I told you. This is whatever. And he was venting, and I didn't realize it was venting. It came across to me like he thought I was stupid. And so I snapped back. And I said, I'm not dumb. How do you think I feel when I wrote the book of what we're going to do with fuel? You know, I was here during a hurricane evacuation when there was no power. I was here when we were trying to evacuate 178 patients, and we did it in 14 hours from one hospital. 178 patients. I was a ground person, and I brought ambulances in from all over the state, but there was no fuel for these ambulances. So now I've got all these ambulances, I got all these critical patients. All these patients are going 3 or 4 hours out of wherever we are, and we have no fuel to get them there. Because I don't know about y'all, but ambulances get like 8 miles to the gallon. And they've already come 3 or 4 hours here, so there's no fuel. So I was here. I watched it. I watched it firsthand on a small scale in my own yard, my own backyard. We had to get on the phone and call the state and say, look, I got to have fuel now. And they brought the National Guard down to get us fuel. And we had to wait 2 hours. That's the reality. That's the reality. And then I've got 300 people sitting here evacuating people. Guess what? There's no food. There's nothing at the grocery store. Every convenience store is empty and closed. So now there's no food. So the same thing that is going on that our veterans saw on a large scale, we're seeing. I saw it firsthand. This is the trickle-down effect. And because it was a hurricane, it happened in a matter of hours. I mean, we went from everything to nothing in a matter of hours. But this is the fear they live with. So how do we deal with it? I snapped back at Carl last night. I was like, don't you think I don't know? I'm not dumb. This is what I've been through. And I was so dense to the fact that when he said, didn't I tell you? This is what I saw. This is what I did. Didn't I tell you? I didn't realize it was venting. I didn't realize it was sharing. Okay? I didn't realize that. And I didn't listen. And I didn't listen to him. So I wasn't a very good source of venting. So when our veterans want to vent about what's going on, where'd you go?
Houdini.
Oh, chicken's out again. We try to keep everything in the yard now. When our veterans vent to us, they're not asking us to fix it. They're not asking us to fix it because you get in that mindset when people vent, you want to fix. We can't fix this. We can't fix the fact that most of the East Coast does not have fuel. We can't fix that today. I don't have a magical refinery in my back lawn. Although I was laughing when I was talking to Stephanie yesterday. I did go to the store. I didn't hoard anything because I already prep ahead of time. I did, however, get 2 gallons of milk and a gallon of coffee creamer because girlfriend is not going to be without coffee. I don't care what happens. But I did get that. But what I'm saying is that we have to let them vent. Now, the next big thing that comes in, and we have to be able to communicate our fears too. Right? But they want to hold it all in like they're the fixer and they're the protector. That's their mission. And so they take so much on them. And Carl and I were standing in the kitchen last night, and he was just in a space because we're watching this evolve. You know, and you got to understand too, I get phone calls from EMS people. Look, what in the world, what, you know, and I'm listening to these. And so, of course, he's hearing my conversations, right? So he knows that's going on, and he's got his buddies, and God love him. He's taken on doing the support group too, and he's getting veteran messages and whatever from veterans. So he has really stepped up to the plate, and he's got all this going on, and I've got all this going on, and we're getting the same thing from 2 separate worlds, and he's dealing it from the military world, and I'm dealing it from the EMS world, and what we needed to do was vent. And he looked at me and he said, I don't know if I can do it, if we can protect us. I don't know how we're going to get out of this. I don't know what we're going to do. And I finally stood there and I just held him and I said, you know what? We have each other. We have each other. We're going to make it. We have each other. And that was probably the best thing I could have said. But so I want you to get in that protection mindset that they're in. How snappy have your veterans been recently about where you're at? Where are you going? How long are you going to be gone? We take it as an invasion of space. We take it as, where's my freedom? We take it as this. How do they protect you if they don't know where you are? Wake up. Get in the real world with them. Communicate. Absolutely communicate. Right now is the time communication is critical. Go back to when I didn't have gasoline when I'm evacuating 178 patients. We're in a hospital that sits 2 feet under sea level. You know, we got barriers around, you know, like it sits down low. But we have 2 things under sea level. Okay? And we're in a hospital that if it floods, the emergency room is going to be underwater. And we have 178 patients that have to get out, and we have no fuel. So we're acting just like this. I needed to know where my resources were. I needed to know when they called and said, hey, I got an ambulance. I got a patient that's got to go now. Do you have an ambulance that's full that I could send one just like that? How long is it going to be before the next one? That's what they're doing. They are protecting us in the same mindset. Where are you at? They may not want to leave you. They may not want to be out of your bubble. Like Michelle says, they're up your bubble more. Girl, we up in each other's bubble. We are in each other's bubble. Both of us, though. I mean, I feel the same comfort with him. So when they ask, where are you at? Where are you going? It's not because they necessarily because they want to be nosy little asses. Well, they do to kind of control, but anyway. But it is about protection, and it is critical. And it is critical that you communicate. It is critical that you tell them, hey, look, we don't have any gas, or our gas is below this, or it is important at this point that you tell them everything. And just because us on the East Coast don't have it doesn't mean it's not going to trickle out further west. They want to know, they see the world. Get on the plan. A lot of people with kids are complaining and saying, you know what? He's been stricter on my kids. He wants to know where my kids are all the time. He wants the kids here. Yeah, because you know what? How many times in a combat situation were they told, load up, let's go now, and they had to know where every single person was, so when they loaded up and got out and got to safety, they had them there. That's why they want to know where your kids are. That's why when they call your kids and say front and center or whatever word they're using, why they want to know why they are. That's why they have a hard time letting them go to ball practice and feeling uneasy about it by themselves. That's why they're a little more uptight about them driving off somewhere by themselves. You don't think that matters to them? They're in protection mode, and they don't necessarily do that and bring you into the picture because they don't want to scare you, because they don't want to fuel you, because they don't want to add that. I have grown kids. My kids are in their 30s. As their mama, I still want to know where they are. I still want to know that they're protected. I'm their mom. But I also have to understand that that's not something I can control right now. That's not something I can control right now. I just have to give them what I know and let them work with it. Then I look at all these veterans that don't have their children. What about these veterans that don't have their children present? Okay, what happens then? What happens to them? They're trusting somebody else to protect their child. You don't think that adds stress? You don't act stressed? No, she's not going to tell you she's concerned. She is not concerned. She is watching it happen, and she doesn't want to scare you because she loves you, Sue. That's the reality. And it's time that we open up the conversations. You have to be able to talk. You don't need all the details, but you have to be able to communicate. What else can you do? What else can we do to help ease this tension? Y'all think I'm crazy. I am the crazy prepper chick. I have enough food in this house for almost a year. I have enough food in this house for almost a year. I don't have to run to the store to worry about whether or not we're going to have food. Those are the things that we do to ease their mind. Those are the things that we do to ease their mind. What can you do on the home front? I'm not telling you to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on buying MREs. What I'm telling you is when you go to the grocery store, and you need to do it because I've been saying all along, we don't know when that next emergency's coming. We don't know when that next emergency's coming. You know, hurricane season's coming here in June, and we know that we don't typically get hurricanes till later in the season, but hurricanes are coming, so we always prepare anyway. But who in their right mind would have ever thought we would have lost gas? Okay? And now all these people are scrambling. At least, you know, you can buy milk and it be semi-intelligent because we've got electricity. Okay? You have to have it. You got to have the stuff. You have to add to it. Y'all, I'm not a typical canned soup eater. Okay, that's not on my typical canned soup eating. I know, right? I'm not on my typical canned soup eating thing. But we have canned soup in the cabinet. Now we eat it some. We have peanut butter out the wazoo. We have canned chicken. We have canned tuna. There is so much of it in those cabinets. We have vegetables. Ramen noodles are God's gift to survival. Right? So I'm telling you, right, all those arguments, they matter. What I'm saying to all y'all is this. You got to get yourself, that creates a calm. When you go to the store and you're leaving them there, tell them, I'm going to the store, and be specific about which store you're going to. And sometimes it's just holding them on the couch or being present in their space. Not in their bubble, but in their space. That's important. I have a bag. Well, so I always have a bag that was ready to go. But we have a bag. And in the bag is socks, underdrawers, changes of clothes. I know where my boots are. Yeah, it's summer. Please know where your boots are, okay? Know where your boots or your tennis shoes are. The flip-flops is not appropriate footwear in an emergency. Sue, I am very close to you. Charleston is not that far away. You need something, you call sister. We not that far away. I will use my mayo gas to come be with you. It's all right. But know where your boots are. Know where your tennis shoes are. In my bag, and I'm not bugging out. That's not where I'm going. But God knows what happens. The house catches on fire, and the freaking fire truck can't get here. Hello, I at least want to be able to change my drawers and wash my hair. Those are the few things in life that I have to have. I have that already. It's already packed. God knows if this house caught on fire, I'd grab that one thing on my laptop and be gone. But be prepared for that. Y'all need to understand. Don't panic. Remain calm, because they are already panicking in their head. Remain calm. Put yourself in Nakia's place, for God's sakes. We're all worried about what we're going to do with our veteran. Richard is in that mindset. He has to be. He sees it. But he knows he can't do anything, and it's all on Nakia to handle it. And I'm telling you, the woman is strong as nails, and she can. But in her mind, the pressure and the added stress that she has to deal with, put yourself in her place. You think we got it tough. He's 100% care. 100% care. And she's got a sister not far down the road that is alone. She's a widow. You don't think that bond between those twins is important? So she's not just worried about her. She's worried about her. She's worried about Richard. She's worried about her twin sister. She's worried about her daycare kids. You understand the levels of worry? Be prepared. Have a plan. I can remember, you're not going to fail, Nakia. You're not going to fail, because I'm going to tell y'all what I have told my children, my son who's an EMT, what I have told every paramedic that has ever taken a patient to a hospital is this. I will get them there, and we'll get there, and they'll be like, I could have done this different, or I could have done that different, or I could have done this different, or I could have done that different. And you know what my answer is? Did they die? Nope. Well, then you didn't fail. And Nakia, in your case with Richard, you've got your plan with Richard. Richard's not going to starve to death. Richard's not going to get care. Richard's health, on God's time, may take him. But that's not your failure. That's not your failure. And you know all you got to do is pick up that phone and reach out, and somebody will get you an ambulance or something there, whatever you need. I'm learning them people in Texas on a first name basis. They may not like me, but it's okay because that's what we do. But remaining calm, being prepared, and communicating. That's how we get through this. I had a shirt on yesterday, and I picked it up today to put it in the laundry. And on the back of my shirt is a 9-line shirt. It was a flag. In between things it says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I cried this morning when I put it in the laundry. I cried because I still believe in that America. Our veterans fought for that America. Our veterans signed up for that America. They don't know who they're pledging allegiance to anymore. The United States is not united. United means join together. We're divided. We're not a republic anymore. We've become a dictatorship, a socialized world, a world of entitlement. You don't think their struggle's real? One nation. We're not one nation. We're not one nation. God forbid we'd say under God. Because I could get by with putting Welcome to the Shit Show on here. But if I put This is About God, we'd be off today. Indivisible. We are more divided now than we have ever been. And in the Civil War, we were divided north and south. It was pretty simple there. North, south. Right? Spanish-American War was us and the Mexican. Come on now, use your head. We are divided in our own communities. We're divided in our own communities. Some of us are divided in our own family. With liberty. Liberty. That freedom. Good morning, Stephanie. That freedom. Justice. We don't have justice. We have trial by media. You know, there was a situation in Brunswick with 3 men. They happened to be white men. They happened to all have had police backgrounds. Watched a young, happened to be a black gentleman, break into homes and had been there. And he was running through the neighborhood and they did a citizen's arrest. And the guy pulled something on them and they shot him. And what was interesting was they had to go before their arraignment yesterday. The day before, the governor of Georgia signed a new bill that said there'll be no more citizens arrests. Justice? How do you have justice in a world like that? How do you try them in front of their peers when they're tried on the media, regardless of who it is? And it says for all. It's the Pledge of Allegiance, y'all. It's what this country was founded on. It's what we are here for. And we don't even know that anymore. And you wonder why our veterans are on edge. You wonder why we're on edge. I have had a moment of tears almost all morning. I have had a moment of tears almost all morning. Go back and listen to Lee Greenwood's I'm Proud to Be an American. Listen. Just listen. And our country was getting there right before a very cool morning in September. We were getting divided. Some cool morning in September. And 2 airplanes took off out of Boston. And those 2 airplanes flew into the World Trade Center. And then one crashed at the Capitol. And then because somebody was willing to fight on an airplane, it ended up in a field in Pennsylvania. At that moment, with all that destruction, all that death, this country became united. We are so divided. And you wonder where the unrest comes from. You wonder why they feel the way they feel. It's not just the gas. It's not just the shortage of food on the shelves. It's not any of that, y'all. The very thing they fought for is gone in their minds. They paid a price that we will never imagine. A mental price, a physical price, an emotional price that most of them will carry with them the rest of their lives. They lost buddies over there. They lost buddies to suicide over here. They lost marriages. They lost families. They lost so much. And they did it willingly. They gave it up for a country they loved. To watch it crumble now, it's no worse than drinking the water on the military base. These guys and women, our men and women, paid a price for a country they believed in that doesn't exist. You can try to guard them. You can try to protect them. They still see it. They still see it. And if you ever sit down and have a conversation with them, they feel like everything they did, everything they gave up, every war, every scar they have, every nightmare they have, every forgetful moment that they have, why did they do it? They're going to ask you. They'll tell you. I know we're running late, but I need you to be in their shoes for a few minutes. I need you to understand where they are. I need you to all of us to be compassionate. I need for all of us to come together with our veteran and our families. So when your child or children, when your spouse says, I need to know where they are, and your kids want to argue, or you say, oh, well, they're just out back, or oh, they're in the room, to stop being so demanding. No, they want them to jump when they say jump, because they never know if they've got to get those kids out of that house right then, and they expect it. They want to know where you are because they're going to do it. That's what they want. You're never going to get all their feelings out at once. It's like Carl said, they throw you the puzzle pieces one at a time. Be present. Love them. Take care of you. Because we all are suffering. We're all anxious. We're all depressed. We're all in that way. But we have choices. We can sit in this freaking pity party that we've been in. We can sit in this pity party that we're in, or we can come together by this, by Zoom, by whatever, say enough is enough, and we are Americans, and we aren't going to be divided, and we are going to have the same goal, and we are going to have the same belief, and you're going to hang your flag out on your front lawn, and you're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and you're going to do all those things that we should do every single day. And maybe when the world sees a little more of that, instead of kids sleeping on the border with aluminum foil or whatever the next nonsense is that goes on in our stuff, we got to live that dash. We're humans. We're Americans. And we are the loved ones of veterans who gave up so much for the rest of this world. So we need to stand beside them and behind them. Amen, America. So I'm going to get off of here before I cry. I've already cried my tears. Lots going on. Coffee in a few minutes with our dear friends at Behind the Service podcast. Lots of prayer, collaboration, all this stuff that we need that goes on. Stephanie will be doing Wellness Wednesday. We look forward to it. I don't always see it live, Stephanie, I'm sorry. But I do always watch the replay. It is fabulous. Again, I cannot thank you guys for being a community as much as I can, and to all the places that we're going and all the things that we have to do. We're here. We're here. We're here as a community. We're here as a family. And we're going to get through this. Y'all have a blessed day.